We are so back, Andrew.
We're back.
We are back.
Bo Pelini, we're back. Nebraska's back.
We stopped pointing the finger. We started pointing the thumb. Matt Rhule, man of action.
Yep.
Take some big action today. So welcome into Day by Day. I'm James. I'm with Andrew. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Find us on characterchronicles.com, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Please subscribe and like the show. Leave a review, comment, helps more people find us. We have a packed episode here. We kind of took last week off with the bye week, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
It was not a sleepy bye week.
No.
I went and caught some volleyball. We had basketball.
I want to hear about that. I think the listeners and the viewers want to hear about that. Let's start there. I mean, we'll get to Dana Holgorsen. That's the big news, and I am happy. I feel like, so I got this text from in a group chat with some others on my, they sent me a text. I was walking out of a meeting at work, and I was a little dysregulated at the moment because I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to go back to work for the rest of the day? I had to tell some coworkers. So we're going to get to that. But you, my friend, went to Nebraska, Washington volleyball in Seattle on Saturday night. I want to hear about it.
Yeah. So I live it takes about 2.5 hours to get over there. And that's like with a ferry ride. And so we're really only like, I think it's like 80 miles or 60 some miles from Seattle,
Sure.
But you don't get around. It's no I-80 Nebraska travel. So I knew they were going to be coming. But I had been trying to get tickets, and you had to buy, like Washington, they knew this was big time. Yep. So they were the only way to buy this ticket was you had to buy the season tickets. You couldn't buy the single game ticket for this game.
Gosh.
And that was back several months ago. So
okay.
the other day I was like, man, when is that game? And so I look it up and I'm like, oh, it's this Saturday. And we were talking about already getting out of town for a night.
Yep.
So looked and got tickets for $19 and took the family. And first of all, had never been to the campus. Beautiful campus.
Looked beautiful from your
amazing buildings. Yeah. And then the Husker fans, like, we got to our hotel around 3, which was in the University District area, and already ran into a couple, big Red fans.
That's awesome.
I saw houses driving around Seattle. I saw houses with Nebraska flags hanging.
That's awesome.
So it was cool. Just obviously being so far from home, feeling a little bit more at home with other Husker fans. So we stood in line. We got there about 2 hours early.
Did they do general admission for their arena?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think you have your individual tickets, and those are probably your season ticket holders. And then this was general, and it was crazy. It was like everyone had to kind of funnel into like 3 doors.
Wow.
And the lines were a block, maybe 2 blocks down, 2 hours before the game. Like, Washington fans were like, yeah, we've never seen this before. I talked to a couple that they live in Canada, but they're like, we came down for this. Like, they're like, we're Texas fans, but they had connections in town or something.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So is the arena that they play in? So it's Alaska Airlines Arena. Yep. Is that also where Washington plays basketball?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right next door to the football stadium.
Because it was like
right on
9,000 plus, and I thought, so is this where does Washington volleyball play there?
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a cool. Yeah, it's kind of an older building, a little bit more historic. But I want to say I heard somebody talk about how they added some seats recently or within the last few years. So, yeah, packed house. I want to say maybe a couple thousand Husker fans. I mean, there wasn't a designated area for Husker fans. There was a lot scattered all over, whether it was ticketed seats or general. But fun. It was fun atmosphere. Had a couple guys just giving that at times annoying "Go Big Red" chant several times. Like he might have been drunk. I don't know, but it was a little weird being this far from Nebraska and kind of going through that, and then my kids getting to see it. So, but good crowd too. Washington's fans even into that third set, towards the end when they were kind of making a little run. Like
Yeah.
that crowd, they still made it explode with cheers and stuff. So yeah,
Really cool experience. Glad you got to go.
Yep. And I'm going to the men's game. The men play there in February, so I'll be hitting that up as well. So
nice. I mean, for the women, props to the women. That's a long way to go to sweep a team and then go back home. But obviously they dominated the match. But Washington's no slouch. So they're like what, 19-6 now, I think.
I think so.
I mean, they have a decent team. Nebraska's just incredible. So had you been to a Nebraska volleyball match before?
Not since college. So this was like
probably as a student.
Yeah, it was like, just took moving to Washington for me to go to my next Husker game. So
what did you think? What was your impression just seeing them in person?
The athleticism, like Andy Jackson and Harper Murray are like, athletes, like incredible. Watching them jump, before the game and spike the ball and all, it was, that was pretty cool. And then they're a well-oiled unit, that entire team. So Bergen Riley had some really cool, crafty little plays in the end there. I'd say the five, like we knew you felt like in that first set, like sweep was coming. You could just kind of tell.
Sure.
Washington didn't have it, and good team, but we're another level for sure. So
and I mean the three women you just mentioned, they're all sophomores. Like they have a 2 seasons plus to play.
Yep.
Well, while you were at Alaska Airlines Arena watching Husker volleyball dominate the Huskies, I was with my 9-year-old son at PBA watching what I think was a men's basketball game between our Nebraska Cornhuskers and gosh, I can't even remember who we played.
Bethune Cookman. That was
Bethune Cookman. Bethune Cookman, who we'd only played once before. We played them back in 2003.
And we played them in football, and that was, I believe, Scott Frost's first win as head coach. Remember, it was like Wednesday,
it was like
and then they scheduled maybe that was during COVID. I can't remember.
I think it was during COVID. I think it was like a makeup game.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're right. It was his first win because wasn't it the makeup game for the Akron game we lost?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was his first year. Yeah. So that game, good crowd, not sold out by any stretch, but it was a good crowd for a Friday night against a tomato can that you should pound. And I couldn't, like, first of all, I kind of say this in jest. To me, like, the ball seemed overinflated because both teams struggled to get the ball in the hoop from 2 inches away. And I legitimately looked at my son and I said, is there something wrong with the ball? Like, they're playing now with the bright orange ball, the NCAA tournament balls, which I don't think Nebraska was playing with last year at home. If you're out there listening and you know I'm wrong, please tell me. I just don't remember going to see games. I went to a lot of them last year where the ball was this bright. And I remember something last year, them talking about in March Madness, like the ball's a little different. And so to me, it just was like, okay, this does not excuse the game, but it was weird, honestly, how many times really both teams, but especially Nebraska, was at the hoop and like you had a bunny, like you just lay it in and it was bouncing around like a Super Bowl on the hoop. So I don't know what was going on with that. Overall, like really impressive defensive performance, but my goodness, they need to figure out some things on offense. I'm driving up 4 hours this Sunday to Sioux Falls to see them play St. Mary's.
Oh, fun.
And I'm a little worried. So I'm a little worried. We'll see how that goes. But I mean, early in the season, I know they're figuring stuff out. They probably are playing too many guys. They're trying to get the rotation. It's like, are you really going to play 9-10 guys? Maybe they didn't play 10. They probably did. They probably got close.
Yeah.
But it just looked like rec ball. Like it looked like a bunch of 40-year-old guys were like, let's go play some rec ball at the Coliseum and see how we do. So it was disappointing. Glad they won. They didn't blow it. But
I feel like they kind of do that every year. I feel like in that first 10 games or so, that non-con, there's a team that just kind of gets you, that in past years we've lost to, Incarnate Word or whoever it was. So, yeah.
I mean, so this Sunday, I mean, they got Fairleigh Dickinson on Wednesday, and then Sunday you got St. Mary's, and they're an NCAA team, and they were a 5 seed last year, and so you got to show up. And then Creighton. So you got 2 high caliber teams, and you better show up. Defense, your defense will show up, but you got to hit some shots. Bryce has to be that guy. Connor Essegian has to hit some threes. Gavin Griffiths just played hesitant. I liked what they did with Braxton Mia. He seemed a lot more aggressive, a lot quicker than the first game. I mean, he's huge. He's just absolutely enormous. Get him the ball, let him make a quick move and dunk the ball. Like if he's good for 8, I think he scored 8 points, maybe. You know, if he can get 8 to 10 points a game, I'd love it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, enough with the preliminary stuff. Let's talk Nebraska offense.
Air raid.
And Dana Holgorsen. Were you surprised? So you saw the press conference?
Yep.
I love that he walks out, gets in front of that mic, and he goes, well, Dylan's, we'll see if he'll practice tomorrow, which I didn't know that. I didn't know, I knew he was hurt. I didn't know he's not practicing. And then he goes, and Dana Holgorsen will be calling plays, and he's going to be the offensive coordinator moving forward. And with that, I'll take your questions. And I'm like, what?
Yep. And of course, that dominated the press conference. There was no other
30 minutes.
Yep.
30 minutes of that. So were you shocked?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I think the timing of it, obviously, we all thought you don't bring Holgorsen in to just do 3 games, consult, and then leave. No. So we had our hopes for him sticking around, being the long-term solution. But the timing is a little unheard of. However, you have, recruiting window that closes in, December 10th, which, oh man, really this whole move really kind of puts an exclamation mark on the need for that bowl game. So Holgorsen can, if he's the guy for next year, get those bowl practices, develop those young guys. So it makes sense, because it really would have been awkward having him kind of be the eyes watching Satterfield call plays and Satterfield run that offense. It makes sense. But I was surprised. It wasn't even on my radar until I pulled up X today, and I'm like, what? So,
and I mean, let me say kudos to Marcus Satterfield, because what Rhule made clear in the press conference was that Sat came to him and said, what do I need to do? And then for Holgorsen, what do you need? And it seemed incredibly humble and selfless for Satterfield to say, yeah, I will essentially step down and just become a tight end coach.
Yeah.
And like Rhule said, he could have just said, fire me, give me my money, and I'll go home. But he's like, nope, I'm staying here. And who knows, for all we know, he might be a great tight end coach.
Yeah.
What I do want to say, because I saw some of this stuff floating around on Twitter today, is people are like, well, who has to leave the staff, or who's got to get fired to make room? That doesn't exist anymore. Unless people forgot or you didn't know, the NCAA passed a rule this summer that you can have unlimited number of what they call tactical on-field coaches. So coaches who are actually doing coaching. Yeah. Typically, you don't need 2 tight end coaches, right? You don't need 2 wide receiver coaches. So they don't, it's not like coaching staffs have 24 coaches. You can only have 11 off-campus recruiters, though, which is typically your head coach and then your 10 traditional position coaches. So yeah, you can have an OC and a separate quarterbacks coach, a separate wide receivers coach, a separate tight ends coach, just like Nebraska has now. So I don't want anybody to be confused on that. So yeah, nobody's going to lose their job. Nobody has to be demoted to a analyst just to make room for Dana.
Yet. There's so many questions
right
around
now.
And yeah, that's one of them is does he pick a staff? Does he just, Rhule reiterated several times. He said, you got good coaches on this staff. is that a little bit of a, hey, let's calm the waters on that conversation? Yeah, it'll really be interesting, but I think as fans, like, let's just focus on these 3 games as well, and then we'll let it all
Because
play out.
like here's what I'd say for people watching and listening. And I want to talk air raid in a minute. And I've done a little bit of research. I want to do a lot more over the offseason, assuming he's going to be the offensive coordinator. But if you just do a little bit of research in what the air raid is, what you're going to see is that they use, especially their tight ends and their backs, to get easy yards, for the quarterback to make easy throws. And I would be shocked if you don't see a couple, not a lot, a couple air raid kind of route trees schemes this week against USC, even if Heinrich Harburg has to play. Because I'll tell you what, I think the air raid actually does more for Heinrich Harburg than people would imagine. It's going to make things simpler for him. You know, they're probably only running, like, think about this, Andrew. They're running 5 to 7 plays in 25 different formations with motions. And it's going to make things a lot simpler. It's why it thrives in college. But you see other teams running air raid. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but I am so excited. I'm so excited. I feel like it gave me new life as a Husker fan.
Yeah, and my question is for you. You think Dana does this if he isn't committed to staying? You know, I don't know what's this. Does he need to? He obviously doesn't need to try out for this because Rhule wants him to be a long-term solution. I don't know if he signs up for OC for 3 games if he's like yeah. So
no, we don't know. I don't know the man. Nobody's done a in-depth sit-down interview with him that I know of. You know, he's been a head coach twice. It's difficult. He's got a really good record as a head coach. But does he want to be a head coach? That's what everybody assumes, right? Everybody, oh, Tony White. Well, okay, we know Tony White wants to be a head coach, and Matt Rhule's talked about that. Does every single college football assistant want to be a head coach? No. Does every single former head coach in college football want to be a head coach? Maybe not. He might want to be an offensive coordinator. Think of Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly. He left a head coaching position. Sure, I know that he was on the hot seat. He was not going to get fired, though. He left because he's like, you know what, all I want to do? I just want to call plays. I just want to coach. I just want to coach players and sit in a press box and call plays. Not a bad gig, to be honest. You don't have to put up with all of the crap that a head coach has to put up with. You just call plays. And I know it's demanding, just like every other position in major college athletics is demanding. But my goodness, it's like, what if he just wants to be an offensive coordinator?
Yeah. And if he wants to move on to head coach, then he's got to perform, and that's going to benefit us if he performs. So
exactly. And you'll have people lining up to be offensive coordinator, and Lord knows they'll have enough money to pay the person.
What I like is he's got Wisconsin and Iowa to plan for. So he's getting kind of that's the kind of your quintessential Big Ten, rugged Big Ten type games. And so it'll be nice he gets a little bit of flash with USC under his belt, and he gets to finish with those 2 games. And so it'd be nice to see what that will look like going forward. But boy, it could be quite a Saturday if the players come out juiced up and they're throwing it all over the yard, and Husker fans are going to lose their minds. But
I just put on Twitter, what if Nebraska drops 40? Heck, I'd be happy if they dropped 30.
Yeah.
When was the last time we scored 30, earlier this year against Northern Iowa and UTEP, but it's like, when was the last time we scored 30 in a conference game? I think it was Purdue last year, and that took a blocked field goal return for a touchdown for us to do that. So, I don't expect us to light the world on fire. I don't think everything is going to change right away, but I think you're going to see a simplified offense that can play with a little more pace, a little more confidence. And what I appreciated about Rhule's press conference was he said exactly that. He's like, we're not installing the air raid, but he said, can we get 10 to 13 more points? Can we convert a couple more third downs? And really, that's what's holding this team back, is this little things. You know, you kick a field goal or miss a field goal, don't get a touchdown. What happens? You lose by 7.
Yep.
You lose by 4 to Ohio State. You lose by 7 to UCLA. You had no business being in that game against UCLA. You lost by 7. How do you get 7 points better? It's not like chasing 3, right? Like you're chasing 3 points. You're chasing 4 points, 7 points. What's going to get you over the hump? Your offense has been abysmal. And I think we heard it 2 weeks ago from Rhule in that press conference. He was like, it's bad and it can't be like this.
Yeah, that's what I've heard a lot today is like, well, how much can he really change, or what can he, but like you said, it doesn't need to be much. Like, it can be just not calling what's holding us back. Like, let's stop calling a pass out to Fedoni in the flat. Like, let's stop that play and let's replace it with, something that's a lot more successful, or a higher percentage of success. So, yeah.
Gosh, I've watched. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it's just different eyes in the room, and it's a different philosophy and a different decision making can make a world of difference.
What I get excited about is, as I've watched some tape of some air, and you can find it out there if you're listening. Just Google, air raid run concepts, air raid route concepts, and you'll find it, and it's out there. And you'll even find Holgorsen doing some seminars and workshops and other things like that. And some of the stuff he talks about, and especially with what he does with tight ends, I'm like, I thought this is what Fedoni is on our team to do. Like, and you see it in the air raid. And I'm like, I think we're going to see some of that. I really believe. I mean, mark my words. Here's my oddly specific prediction for this week. You are going to see Fedoni running wide open down the seam multiple times. And the quarterback, probably Heinrich at this point, because it's Tuesday tomorrow, Heinrich is going to hit him, and he's going to be wide open because they're going to dumb it down, not because they're stupid, but again, because college students, right? They're still college students. Remember that. They're still college students. They're going to make it simple. And so just Google and watch. And like, if you don't get excited about crossing routes, who doesn't get excited about crossing routes? Like Nebraska has been killed by those for 15 years. And yet we don't run them ourselves. Why? I don't know why.
We'll find out. Maybe.
So I got some stuff on Holgorsen I want to run by you. I did this. You can find this on my Twitter profile. I don't know when, from probably 10 days ago or so, maybe more recently than that. Because I'm a nerd, I went back to every year he's been an offensive coordinator or a head coach, and I looked at how many times he threw the ball per game or ran the ball per game from 2005 to 2003. Now, I know that run pass ratio it's not an indicator of success. It's not an indicator of wins. But I think, Andrew, for me, the number one argument I've heard against Dana Holgorsen is we don't need another pass-happy offense. We don't need air raid. And I just think that's a fundamental misunderstanding of what air raid offense is. So do you want to take a guess over the course of his career, so 2005 to 2023, the percentage that a Dana Holgorsen team or offense runs the ball?
Well, since you're bringing it up, I'm sure it's going to be surprising. I'm going to say 62% run.
That's pretty high.
That's high. Okay.
Yes. 45%.
Okay. Yeah.
45. But here's the thing. You remember those great Mike Leach teams that at Texas Tech?
Yep.
They threw the ball a lot. And so for a few of those teams, 2005 to 2007, Holgorsen was the offensive coordinator. And in 2005, 6, and 7, so 2005, Texas Tech averaged 49 passes per game. In 2006, that was our senior year fall.
Yep.
50 times per game. 2007, Andrew, 59 passes per game. Okay. Take out those years, because I feel like those are an outlier. I think that was what Mike Leach wanted. He did that wherever he went.
Yeah.
You take out those years, and Holgorsen's close to 49% run, 51% pass. And I think we've heard from Rhule and Satterfield, like they kind of want to be 50-50, right? You look at his time at West Virginia from 2011 to 2018. Run percentage starting in 2014, 51, 2015, 59, 2016, 58, 2017, 49, 2018, 49. And then he goes to Houston as a head coach. Now he's not calling plays. I think he did it at Houston the first year. 59% run. And then in 2020, 49% run. 2021, 53% run. And then 44, and then 47. So like what you see is there is a concerted effort to run the ball.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, they had, when he was at Oklahoma State in 20, I know I'm all over the place and I'm so excited, but I'm so excited. When he was at Oklahoma State in 2010, you had a 4,000 yard passer and a 1,500 yard runner.
Yeah.
When he was at West Virginia from 2011 to 2018, they had 4 1,000 yard rushers, and they never had a running back run under 740 yards. So what I don't want is for fans to say, we're going to stop running the ball. No, they are going to run the ball, but they're going to throw the ball with better efficiency.
Yep.
Better route combinations, which is what you all want. And they're going to be more creative in the run game. And they even use RPO. I know that's not Dylan's strength. I think it could do it. They run RPO. And you know who else runs air raid concepts within their offense? Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, Maryland, Indiana to some extent. All these teams run spread offenses with air raid concepts.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, I know we want to hold on to the past, we want to hold on to nostalgia and all this, but I don't care. Like Rhule said today,
I want to score points.
Yeah, we need to score points. So isn't that what we want? So sounds like it's an OC that isn't too big-headed to be, be stubborn and stick to one thing. Like he's going to find creativity. He's good at scoring points. He's good at racking up yards, and that's what we need. So,
I couldn't be more excited if you couldn't tell. So,
Dana,
more to come. I am hopeful. What I'm most hopeful for, to go back to the 30,000-foot view, is that Matt Rhule made a really hard leadership decision. Mm-hmm. And he made it quickly because the data was in front of him, and you can't deny the data. And that's what Nebraska football needs. It needs fearless leadership that will do what's required, even if it's hard.
Yeah. What do you think we're going to see? I guess maybe it's just players. Like who do you think we see emerge that hasn't been on the field this year? Maybe they have very sparingly, but I've been trying to kind of put myself in his shoes, walking into the room, watching tape. What do you think he's seeing on tape, and what decisions do you think he's going to make off of those? One, I think he sees the horrendous outside blocking by receivers. Maybe that means a receiver is not in on those plays or not in at all, or those plays just aren't run anymore. But I'm curious. Yeah, you think what's he see?
That's a great question. And
what do
you think?
I think
a couple players that come to mind.
Well, I think he's going to look at what isn't working, and I don't even know. Again, we don't know what kind of identity we had on offense. But I think he's going to, like you said, he's going to pick out the 5, 6, 7 plays that do work, that we do run well. I say throw out the others, but I don't know. I mean, I think we all want to see a little Malachi Coleman come back into it, and he and Harburg had a little chemistry. So if it is Harburg that goes this week, maybe we see Malachi. I want to see Carter Nelson be utilized.
I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised to see more Carter Nelson, especially this week. Yep. Carter Nelson, I think Fedoni. I think Fedoni is going to have a big game. Doesn't mean I think Nebraska is going to win. I probably won't pick Nebraska to win, but I still think Fedoni could have a big game. He's been the most consistent receiver all year, even with our ineptitude.
Yeah.
I do think I'm really interested to know, kind of in a air raid RPO type offense. And again, who knows what they're going to do this week or next week or against Iowa. But I haven't looked into this much, so it's ignorant. It's ignorance right now. What kind of a running back does Dana Holgorsen like? Mm-hmm. Does he like a big, beefy, pounding back like Dowdell, or does he prefer someone like Emmett Johnson? I don't know. And so I think this week's going to tell us a lot, as he works in the rotation, like, who's getting those early carries, who's getting the swing passes. I don't know if they're going to run a lot of screen passes. Hopefully not. But if they do a little bit of air raid stuff, you're going to see some swing passes to running backs. Who's going to be the one catching those passes? I hope it's not Dowdell,
and it better be blocked.
Not the coach, and it better be blocked.
So I have an oddly specific prediction.
Let's hear it.
You gave yours. I have Ja'Cory Barney. He's, there's no question he's going to get the ball. I have him having 3 15-yard plus or plus 15-yard plays.
Explosive plays, yep.
And on the second one of those will be a touchdown. So, 3 explosive plays, second one of them touchdown.
I hope so. Yeah, mine's going to be, I think you're going to see Fedoni running wide open on a seam route at least twice. And I think Harburg is going to hit him. I hope Dylan can play, but also you recognize, like, if there's 2 games, let's say you can only play 2 out of 3 games.
Yeah.
For Dylan, don't play this game. Get healthy. You're only 19. You got your whole career in front of you. It looked pretty bad when he went down.
Yeah.
Against UCLA, right? When he kind of had that spasm, and it's like, okay, it's a spasm, but like, what's that mean? Is there something else going on? I know they take care of the players, so figure that out. Don't rush back. I think it would be really hilarious to see Dana Holgorsen take over the play calling duties, and then we have a Heinrich Harburg game where he runs for 100 yards. That would be like ultimate irony.
Yeah.
But if it meant a win, I would take it. So.
Well, and who knows? Somebody asked in the press, do you prepare 2 different offenses this week? And he's like, Rhule's like, this is the reason I'm not letting you guys, or basically letting people talk to you tomorrow, because they're going to hold this close to the vest. So honestly, I don't even know, if Rhiola's, who knows if he hasn't been practicing? Who knows what they're willing to hold close.
But how about this, man? Like, so last week, it was Friday or Saturday, USC comes out, they're like, hey, we're starting the transfer from UNLV, the running quarterback. And then Nebraska Monday is like, we see that and we'll up the ante. We have a new offensive coordinator.
9 losses between these 2 teams, and it's riveting.
It's riveting. It is theater, and it's 1:00 local time in California, and there is going to be more Husker fans than Trojan fans. I can almost guarantee you.
Yeah.
This is the game. I don't know. You probably haven't heard this because you're not listening to actually over the air radio, so you don't get those ads.
Yeah.
But this is the game that the Nebraska Alumni Association has chosen to go out to take people to. So you're going to see a strong presence of alumni, and there's a ton of Husker alumni in Southern California. So so you're going to see a lot of Husker fans. I think in the some of the chatter today, they're saying maybe, you're talking maybe 15, 20,000 Husker fans at the game, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
Yep.
All right. Do you have a prediction for the game?
I do. And I'm Mr. Optimist. We're going to win this game.
No. Oh,
it's a 4-5 USC team. Like so take all this out of it.
Okay.
USC's not great. Now I know we've had our struggles and there's so much uncertainty, but
that you saying this, they're going to, that quarterback, he's going to throw for 400 yards.
Well, then good for him. But I have Huskers winning 31-24.
Okay.
We are going to score 30.
Wow. All right. So I can't pick Nebraska to win, and I'm not gonna. I really want to set myself up for joy at the end of the day. So I I I agree with you. I think this USC team is not great, but they've had a really tough schedule too. And so I don't want what happened to what happened with UCLA to kind of distract me or, for me to go, oh, that was it was just a bad game for Nebraska. Like, I think UCLA was a really good team that had a really tough schedule. I think USC is similar. So I'm going to say, I think in my article, which I didn't even talk about, I wrote an article and it was for Husker Corner, and then it was scheduled to post like at noon. Well, the press conference was at 11:30. So by the time this scheduled post went live, it was irrelevant and obsolete. But if you're listening, go find it and click on it because, it's like leaving a tip without you having to pay anything. So go read it. But it talked about, well, will two consultants make a difference? Will Dylan be able to bounce back? Well, I didn't know Dylan wasn't practicing, and then I didn't know Holgorsen was going to call plays. So the article is pointless.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, in the article, I predicted, I think I said USC 37, Nebraska 24. I could double check that quick. That might be a little high at this point. I am going to double check because I want to make sure I'm giving that right. Yeah, I did. I said 37-24. I really hope USC doesn't score that much, but I'm just going to say that. I'm going to stick with that.
It's just,
I'll be, this team is so, and Rhule talked about it, in the press conference, was it today even, like how the team is just so up and down and we can't be up and down. So I hope it's an up week, but I'm not expecting that. Even though Rhule said, oh, I haven't heard anything from the players about Holgorsen. Well, again, they're still young people. They're still young men, and they have emotions and they think things, and that affects the way that you live your life and you do your craft. Yeah. So I have a feeling it will impact some of the players, and it won't always be positive. So I think we'll lose. But that doesn't mean the future isn't bright, because I think the future is brighter today than it was yesterday.
Hopefully. So if it's a loss, that's 4 in a row.
And that's pretty bad.
Are we responding differently because of this news today?
I don't think so, because in terms of how the offense plays, I don't think you cannot judge Holgorsen on this 3-game stretch. It's not fair to him. This is the hand he was dealt. I know he took the job, but like, he did not design this offense. He did not pick these pieces. He didn't go into the transfer portal last year to pick the receivers he wanted, right? So it'll be interesting going forward. But like you said earlier, you got to win this game so you can get those extra practices to install the offense you want to run.
Yeah. But let's talk fun things here. Say we win, you got the bull monkey off your back. You're probably feeling really good about the offensive coordinator. And now we get to go into 2 of the games that, as Husker fans, we're really passionate about.
Yep.
Wisconsin, Iowa, because they beat us way too much since joining the Big Ten. So,
and Wisconsin's up and down, and it's at home on Senior Day.
Yeah, a win could really just, in my mind, wash UCLA away from our minds. We're looking at bowl. We're looking at, there's going to be a lot of hope. So,
and then Iowa, like, we're at Iowa. Iowa's good.
Yeah.
But I will say this: Iowa cannot pass the ball.
Oh, yeah, you look at some of the stats. Yeah.
They cannot throw the ball.
And they couldn't run this week against UCLA.
If Nebraska can stop the run, they will have a chance against Iowa. Because even though Iowa's defense is good, it is not elite like it's been in the recent, I would say, 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So you got 3 games you could win. You could still go 8-4, which would be a miracle at this point. But I think the future is bright, and whatever happens these next 3 games, again, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful because I think the right guy is in charge, and he's let's be honest. He did what Bill Callahan couldn't do.
Yep.
He did what Mike Riley couldn't do. He did what Scott Frost couldn't do. To some extent, I feel like Bo's guys came and left so often, coordinators and whatnot. But I mean, to some extent, Bo had assistants he probably needed to let go of.
Yeah.
And held on to.
Change.
Yeah. So it took one season, 1.75 seasons to get there. Why didn't it happen last year? I know we can ask that question, but that's not what happened. But here we are now, and he made the decision today. So, yeah. All right.
Exciting.
I'm excited. I am excited. So we'll see how things go on Saturday. It's too bad though. It'll be Tuesday when this is coming out. So we still have like 5 days to go. That's so sad.
Who knows what could happen the rest of the week?
Oh my gosh, I know. Well, we'll see how Nebraska basketball does. Let's get by Fairleigh Dickinson. Feel good as we're going into the weekend. So, okay. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. It is a good day to be a Husker. It's always a good day to be a Husker. So appreciate you. And Andrew, I appreciate you, man.
You too.
It's always good to talk Huskers with you. So, all right, everybody, we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.